everything. It's going to be a very serious topic today regarding domestic violence from the once well-known shock rocker Marilyn Manson, aka Brian Warner, son of Hugh Warner and Barbara Wire. We don't really need to go into a detail about his life. His life is easily found everywhere. He was once involved with a young actress named Evan Rachel Wood. I believe she was 26 at the time and he was, say, in his 40s when they were about to be married in 2006, but they called it off, most wisely so. Well, Evan called it off. She stated that she was terribly terrorized and groomed by that of Manson, and that she was just living in fear of him. It was not uncommon that he would hang around with underage girls, and it was not uncommon that he would groom them. Why? It's easier to control a young girl as opposed to a grown woman. Grown women are not easy to manipulate as much. It was said that every time she would try to contact her family, he would cut himself in order to keep her away from them, and any time she would try to escape from him, he would threaten suicide, etc., etc., if she were to ever leave him. As in many cases we've seen, anytime a person tries to leave their perpetrator, they would always threaten either killing themselves or killing others. I've heard of a case where a man literally murdered his ex-wife's dog when she tried to get away, which was terribly brutal. I myself have my own story or my own case of domestic violence, but I'm not going to get into that. All I can say is that I'm thankfully away from that situation. The thing is, a lot of people tend to back up Manson, having this halo effect because he is handsome and somewhat young and very articulate. Many people don't want to believe that someone as unique as him can be capable of such damage, even though a lot of the damage is even in his own songs. I notice whenever I used to listen to them. I won't do it to you, I'll do it to you. I hope the sun gets caught in your mouth. Or, I love you so much you must kill me now. And, let me see. I'll raise you like an angel, I'll lift you down, and I'll drag you down like a whore. You wanted perfect, you got your perfect, now I'm too perfect for someone like you. It goes on and on. We can just Google up his songs, and a lot of it has a lot of anti-women bashing that I wasn't even aware, that I wasn't even realizing of. And anytime I would hear it, I would always justify like, oh, that woman wasn't good for him, she was trash, she was this, she was that. Even I had fallen into that curse of entrapment mentally. We even know that when he was married to his first wife, Dita Vontis, she left him after 1 year due to drugs and infidelity. With that of Evan Rachel Wood. But coming back to topic, oftentimes we don't know we're being abused because oftentimes it's not even physical. It can be, say, him or her, because it's both genders, he or she can continuously scream at you, call you all types of names, restrict funds from you, keep your children from you, criticize you, belittle you, very slowly, very subtly, seeing what you're willing to put up with and making sure that you're not going to stop them or put them in their place. That's why every time you see red flags like this, you shouldn't wait until it becomes one large red banner. You have to stop the problem in its tracks. And oftentimes it's hard because we're so much in love that we don't want to see it. We become somewhat blind to it. See no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. Not an Illuminati reference. At least I don't think. And we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to take off the rose-colored glasses. We have to be willing to see that every person is nice until they're not. Every person is kind and sweet until they're not. And if a person is stuck in an abusive relationship, someone we know, or if even it's of our own self, we have to at least admit it to ourselves. But once we've got to that point that there's a problem, we can't just up and leave. We can't just pack our bags and leave. There has to be a very strategic way of doing so. There has to be a very gentle way. It's said that the first 2 weeks that you are away from your partner, that it is the most... This is not to say that all males are rapists and all females are victims. What about Mary Kay Letourneau? She was the woman that married her male student. We have Amber Heard, who even admitted to putting her hands upon her husband, Johnny Depp, and that's just to name a few. Anyway, the first 2 to 3 weeks of leaving your abuser is considered to be the most dangerous, and that is the time when you will most likely die. You must do it slowly and gradually. Have a bug-out bag, have contact numbers, have some money, have a first aid kit, traveling clothes, jewelry, papers regarding your home, social security cards, passports if you have to happen to go to a different country, etc., etc. Do everything silently and subtly. Make sure your perpetrator cannot sense that your behavior is any different. Get your neighbors and friends involved if you have to. Tell someone. There are plenty of numbers and hotlines that you can call. I myself had to utilize them at once or another, and they were very helpful. It is not your fault. Do not blame yourself. There is no justification in putting your hands upon someone. It is not your fault, and it seldom gets better. Almost none. People can change, only if they want to, but don't count on it. A leopard doesn't change its spots. A snake is still a snake, even if he sheds its skin. A snake is still a snake. You can't change his or her behavior, but you can certainly change yours. It is not your fault. Get out. Get help before it's too late.